So we're going live a few minutes early so I can check the audio. I just need to find the audio. So that the room is enough for you. All right, how's everybody doing? So let's see. I think we should shed some light on the topic. And let's see. Boom. All right, let's see how we're doing here. So I got a video of me on my phone. All right, let's see how we're doing here. Okay, I've got audio. So I got a video of me on my phone. Okay, my friends. Hello, this is Evan Crayons, the Honey Badger Binder of BookForge, and this is BookForge Live. There's been a lot going on. I'm not even wearing the shirt I planned on wearing for this. Okay, sorry I missed last week. Today is the makeup day, so you'll get 2 hours today, and then you'll get another 2 hours on Wednesday. And that'll kind of make up for last week. And yeah, so on a personal note, my hair has reached a point where it is, this is the longest I've had it in quite a while. And so it's doing something, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know if I like it, but there it is. There's a couple odd things that I'm going to be doing today. I got these new lights, which I'll be using in future videos. And I'm going to be testing these out. And I want to see how long they'll actually last. All right, so these are just going to sit down here and do their thing. So we'll see. Those aren't actually meant for this, but it's just something I have going on. Starting in January, we're going to have some really fun formats. I know I've been way behind on everything. Actually, we have a member who just left us, and that's sad. And I know that's on me. I haven't been producing content like I should be. The move really derailed just about everything in my life. Not having apprentices around makes it really difficult. So, you know, if you're watching this and you're watching it for free, congratulations. Starting in January 2024, just a few short weeks from now, the live sessions are going to be for our paid tiered members, and they'll go to the public in a week or two. But I feel as we've progressed this far, I really need to give my tiered members more. And so they're going to have an advanced viewing 2 weeks before the general public of the BookForge Live sessions. I'm going to be adding some segments. We're going to have bookbinding word of the day. So there's a caveat. For the first month, maybe two, it's going to be bookbinding word of the week. And I'll explain why in a minute. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you some bookbinding terminology. We're going to talk about it for a few minutes and maybe give you some application of it. And so this is to help build a better community, a better culture. One of the definitions of having a culture is a common language, and another one is a common religion. And I think in our case, I'm going to call our religion books. So, but that common language, one of the things that I struggled with when I was first learning how to do the bookbinding was someone would call something one thing and someone else would call it another, and the third person would just make up a term. I swear to God, they were just making up words to confuse me. So I feel that as we move through the next year, by the end of the year, I'd like you to have 365 new bookbinding terms, and maybe they're not all going to be new. I know some of you guys out there, you're intelligent. You've either been doing bookbinding for a while or you've watched videos. You've heard these words, but I'm going to give you the textbook definition, and we're going to talk about it. And I hope to spring some new stuff on you. There's some I don't know, esoteric or anachronistic terms that I feel that it wouldn't be bad to know, and maybe it's time we bring some of these words back. Over the last couple of years, I've noticed there's been a resurgence of people wanting physical books, and we watch the dawning of Amazon and the downfall of the brick and mortar bookshop, but we're starting to see used bookshops pop up, mom and pop bookshops pop back up, and so I really feel having this common vocabulary will help us out, and so there's that. So we're going to have a bookbinding tool of the week, and initially, again, this is going to be bi-weekly probably at first, and then I'd like to move it to a weekly format. But it's something definitely to look forward to. I started doing it months ago, and I fell away from it because everything. If you want to know the history, go back and watch other live sessions. But just a lot has been going on in the last 6 months, and I just didn't have time. I didn't have time. And that's one of the problems that I'm running into is time. So the bookbinding tool of the week, we're going to show you bookbinding tools, and I'm going to give you physical examples of how they're used. So it's not just going to be, hey, bookbinding tool of the week, scissors, catch you next week. No, I'm going to show you physical demonstrations of how to use things, and not just the scissors, but the book presses and the weights and the sewing frames and the brushes. And when I introduce the brush, like things like the brushes, I will talk about the ones with the metal. What's the right word? I want to call it a fuller. The metal band that goes around them versus plastic bands. We're going to talk about glue brushes and conservation brushes. So we'll get into a little bit more than, hey, brush. I feel you guys deserve that. One of the other programs that we're going to do, I'm trying to remember them now off the top of my head, and I'm just not there yet. Review. So we're going to do a BookForge review, and in the reviews, we're mainly going to focus on books about bookbinding, books about restoration, books about books. So here's an example, a prime example. So you probably can't see it very well. I'll give it to this camera. This here, let me come around. I don't have a monitor, so I can't really see what you guys are seeing, and I apologize for that. I have a list of equipment that I'm trying to acquire. And so this book here is Suave Mechanicals. It's put out by Legacy Press. And this one here is Essays on the History of Bookbinding. So this is Suave Mechanicals Volume 1. I think there's like 7 or 8 of these. And as you can see, they're hefty books, and they're made out of really nice paper. So we'll give you, so what we're going to do, this book has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different essays. And so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to review the whole book as a whole, because this is made up of so many different authors. What I am going to do is I'm going to read each of these essays, and I'm going to give you a review of the essay. Like the first one is Historical Repair, Recycling, and Recovering Phenomena in Islamic Binding of the University of Michigan Library, Exploring the Codiological Evidence, which is kind of cool. And then we have another person wrote a primer on signed bindings, so that's kind of cool. And so that's Loki the Snow Dog, or Loki the Bindery Dog, or Loki Dog of Mischief, however you want to put it. The mailman just dropped the mail by. So we have another article here, Jeff Peachy, Beating, Rolling, and Pressing, the Compression of Signatures in Books Prior to Sewing. So there's a lot of really cool information in here. And so we're going to go through, like I said, each one. And that way, these books, these are like $85 to $120 a piece. If you don't want to buy the book, my review, I'm going to tell you what the article is about. I'm going to tell you the key points. And just kind of, we'll sit down, we'll have a talk about each of these. So I've got a bunch of different books. I've got stuff by Bernard Middleton, Beale, Edith Deal, old time bookbinder, a lot of really good knowledge. So that's what BookForge review is going to be about. And so this is going to be as much an educational journey for me. Did that thing not follow me? I can't tell if the camera is tracking or not. It is not tracking. Hey, I'm right here. There we go. Good. So it's going to be as much as an educational journey, because while I've read a lot of these books, kind of the way you go through a textbook, piecemeal. I'd look something up. I used them as reference books. I had not sat down and read this book all the way through. I have read a couple of the essays. So this is going to be as much for my benefit, but I'm going to help you guys out by telling you what's in the book, so you don't necessarily have to go buy it. Because I know not everyone has, 7 times $120 or $85 or whatever these are. Okay, so that's going to be BookForge review, and we may review tools. Like if I buy something new, we're going to do an unboxing and kind of review the tool. I'll try it out a few times, and we'll see if it's any good. And but primarily, it's going to be on book literature. All right, so let's see. We've got Word of the Day, Tool of the Week, Review. We already have BookForge Live, and then we're going to have BookForge Atelier. I never can say this word. So basically, it's going to be the BookForge Studio. And what that's going to mean is we're going to do a project from start to finish. And, whether it's a rebinding project, or maybe we're going to make some stuff from scratch. I have a couple stuffs in the hopper where I've got the article written, I've got the pictures taken, I just need to shoot the video, and we're going to release that. And that's going to start happening early in January. The Atelier programs will probably start the second week in January. I'm going to try and do one a week. Again, it's probably going to be bi-weekly, and don't get upset if it turns out to be monthly. Some projects are very complicated. Now, I talked about some of this stuff being intended to be daily, probably be weekly. It's going to be weekly, but it'll probably be bi-weekly or maybe monthly. And the reason for that is it's just me here. So my day job is bookbinding and book restoration. So I have client books on my table, and I need to work these. And I put in my full 8-hour day, and that's what live is you get this 2-hour window into whatever I'm doing. I don't work as fast. I think I think differently when I have an audience, and even though I can't see you, I know that I'm talking to someone or not talking to someone, but performing for them. And that's kind of what I feel that is. So while this is naturally what I would be doing during the course of the day, I still need the rest of my week to get my work done. And if I'm putting together content for my Patreon page and other social media outlets too, it takes time. And so I get done with my workday. Maybe I get some of it filmed during my workday. Maybe I don't. Even if I get it filmed during my workday, which usually I don't, I still have to pop this stuff into the editing bay. I have to do color correction. I have to do audio correction. I have to splice it together. I have to edit out the garbage because you don't want to watch the garbage. So it takes time. And it was a little bit easier when I had apprentices around, but I haven't seen apprentices in months, and I don't know when I'll ever have an apprentice again. So it's just me here. If you're interested in becoming an apprentice, give me a call. Ultimately, I would love to find an apprentice who wants to learn this as a trade, and a decade from now, take this all over. My ideal apprentice would come, learn from me, eventually become a partner in the business, and then eventually I would just bow out, they would take the business on, and they would become the bookbinder, and I would become a retired person who, would putter and do book arts and whatever he wanted without worrying about the business and how do I pay my bills and do I have enough money to buy whatever, because God knows I need some stuff. And like right now I'm struggling with the lighting in here, which is horrendous, and being able to set up, I have my camera here, but ideally that camera should be over my desk, and I don't, at the other place I had pipes I hung rigs from, but I haven't quite figured out how that is going to look here. And I have some equipment that I found online that I think I would really like, but I just don't have the funds for it right now. I need to finish some books to get some money so I can buy the stuff, blah, 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 blah. So if you're watching this for free, please consider becoming a patron here on Patreon and help me get equipment and other stuff so I can make better quality content. I want to make stuff that people want to watch, and I want to make stuff that people learn from. And that's kind of my whole thing is, you can go to Das Bookbinding. He makes some beautiful, very technical, formal videos, and he does a really good job at it. And that's not me. I'm more of a real world, hey, this is the Bindery, hey, this is what I'm doing, here's my cup of coffee, here's my talk. But I want to show you what actually goes on, and that's kind of the direction, because I feel that, well, the guy at Das does a very technical aspect of it. I want to do a very real world, hey, if you're operating a bindery, this is what it's going to look like. All right, so yeah, I delivered this book, so I don't need these. And let's see. Oh, that's the other thing. At some point, I'm going to stop talking to you, and I'm just going to work. And starting in January, I'm going to talk less and work more, which you're all out there going, yay, it's the Muppet Show. One thing I would like to get when I set up my, I just set off the sensor. When I do eventually set up the overhead rig, I would like to have a monitor set up on the rig so I can see, well, one, what you're seeing, but two, like if you are on my Patreon page and you send a message, I I won't know it because I don't have a computer here. My computer is actually in the other room about 15 feet away, almost 20. And that's because it's a video editing bay. It's not something I can just carry around. And so I'd like to have a tablet here so I can see what's going on. And while I might not type my response immediately, I can respond this way. And if you're watching this on YouTube in a week or two, make your comments, suggestions, criticisms. Talk to me. I love interaction, and as long as you're not disrespectful, I will answer you to the best of my ability. If I don't know something, I will tell you that I don't know something. I'll go find it out, and I'll come back and tell you what I found. I don't consider myself a master yet. I really don't. I've been doing this for over a decade. There's stuff that I'm still learning. There's stuff that I did 10 years ago that I haven't touched since, and I need to refresh my memory. But I do consider myself a bookbinder. I do consider myself an artist, and this is BookForge. So, okay, that is the really long-winded intro. Now I'm going to get to work. So I need to remember where I left off on these guys. Yes, I need to lift these. So if you'd like, I'm going to switch. I'm going to go in the other room real quick, and I'm going to switch to the desk view, and that way you can see what's going on in my hands. And so don't go away. I'm still here. I'm going to go out of the picture for a second. So that's the other thing, having the cameras on the bench the way they are, it makes it really difficult to maneuver around it. And I would love to have the camera rig so everything is up off the table and directly overhead. So what I'm going to do for this particular book, I need to lift this cloth I was hoping somewhere would be a little bit loose to get into. Or not. And make me work for it. All right, I got a little bit of the board with the cloth, and that's okay. This isn't a historical type of binding. I'm doing what is referred to as a functional restoration. I'm not necessarily worried about making it look pretty. I mean, I'm going to make it look as nice as I can, but their budget was, hey, make this book readable. And if you're wondering what this book is, it is a 12 by 12 AA book, and I get quite a few AA books because while they're made cheaply, and I don't mean to insult anyone, they're meant for giving away free at meetings. And when you make a book that is considered disposable, it's really difficult to make a high quality book, and because it becomes more expensive. The problem is when you do have people who stick with it for 5, 10, 15, 30, 40 years, you end up having a book that is a bugger to rebind. They're made cheaply. They don't even really sew them. AA books, they fold the folios into signatures, and they put a cut or two into the folded edge of the signatures, and then they inject glue into it, which, from my standpoint, is a nightmare. All right, so this is lifted. I got the turn-ins lifted, so I put the new fabric, I can put the old turn-ins down. And I just want to make sure, I think, yeah, that'll make it. All right, so there's that one. So I'm going to do the same thing to this. I'm going to try and find a area here that is easy to get under. Now, a lot of times you won't get exactly under the cloth. A lot of times you'll take a very thin layer of the board with it. And like I said, with this particular binding, I'm not overly concerned about it. If this were a true restoration, all right, if you're wondering about the knives that I'm using, these knives are by Jeff Peachy. He's a bookbinder and book restorer, pretty much an expert in the field. And he's designed some of his own. Oh, yeah, here I am talking. This is one of the reasons. Yeah. He makes some beautiful tools, and at one point I had more money than brains, and I bought a bunch of his blades, and I have a couple other things by him, but I really appreciate the steel that he uses and the ergonomics of his knives. Okay. So when I glue this, I'm going to have to make sure that I glue this layer down and then underneath the cloth here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I'm deep enough all the way across. Okay, I got carried away here. Alright, next thing I need to do is, I'll do that in a bit, but I'm going to need to trim this up. Alright, so let's, I guess, so this is another AA book. This is the AA, the regular AA Bible, I guess they call it, the big book. And so this came as a set from these folks. So if you're wondering why this particular panel still has end paper on it, the end paper is a pain in the ass to lift, and the other boards I had to lift it, and this one here I didn't, and so I didn't. I'll put the new end paper right over this one. Call it good. Oh, I ripped it. All right. Well, it can be glued back together again and still look fairly seamless. Yeah, it doesn't come up very well. The reason I lift these wings is once I do put the new cloth in, tuck it underneath here, to turn into the new cloth we covered up by the old stuff. All right. Front of the book, back of the book, and the new book cloth. A little shinier than the old, but it's okay. All right, so I'm going to mark this up. I need a pen or pencil. Man, I need my bone folder. Is it already out here? All right. There's my center. If I remember this correctly. I know, you're not going to be able to see this very well. Alright, so I have my own way of doing this, and this is where the disclaimer comes in. It's more than one way of doing this. Whatever makes sense to you. As long as you get things centered and measured correctly, that is the biggest part. Let's see. not right. Need the lighting in here makes this really hard to see. All right, and one thing I want to do is I want to trim a little bit off this because I think it's a little too deep. Alright, so all right, so that came out exactly right. All right, so I really need to work on the lighting in here. See my marks. Okay. There. So this ruler, it's a cheapo from Staples, but as you can see, it's got glare and shine and it reflects. Get yourself a matte ruler. I hate that ruler. All right, so let's, what we're gonna do that is going to get pasted up to that line. I want to make sure that that all works. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this side. You want to be careful not to bend the old cloth back too far. You'll create a crease. It'll be visible. You won't be happy. Won't be the end of the world, but you just want to be careful not to bend that back too far. And I do this to make sure, see, I'm hitting it, not to the line yet. So there's a spot where I just didn't go deep enough. Or I'm just hitting something, because that's plenty deep. Ah, there we go. have that? Alright, so when I go to glue this together, we'll have to contend with that. Alright, so we're going to need some paste and a brush. So typically I work with a round, but I think in this case we're going to use a flat. And I normally want to use paste or a 50-50 paste PVA mix, but I don't have any made up, and I'm just going to move ahead with this. All right. So there's that layer that was giving me problems. We'll do a really nice squeeze down, squeeze out. All right. So now what we're going to do the actual glue out. So if I'm taking this off camera, I apologize. Like I said, I can't see what you're seeing. I mean, I suppose I could bring the video up on my phone, but there's a delay between what I'm doing and what you're seeing. Just natural lag, because it's going from my camera to the streaming device to YouTube, and then it goes straight to Patreon. All right, there's all that where I accidentally cut through. I'll have to clean that off when we get there. Meantime, let's get you in there. And I'm going to bring this down to that line, into that line. And all right, there's one side. Side two. And so ideally, if you took some Klucel G or other form of consolidant and you hit the board and the cloth with it, it would keep it from absorbing too much glue. Now with this particular book, I'm not overly worried about it. Between its age and what we're actually doing, I feel pretty confident this will be solid. If this were leather, I would definitely consider that Klucel G Avenue. All right, so I'm going to get this in to where it belongs. And then I'm going to, oh, look at that, squared right up. I got my lines all right. I love it. Okay.
Susan?
All right, this doesn't necessarily have to be in the press. Normally I put it on the other bench with some weight on it. But since this is here and I don't have to walk away, I'm going to just put a little pressure on it. All right, so let's have a gander at these. Right, so I need to get some glue off my fingers. I'll be right back. Don't go away. Not going far. Okay, I promised you I was back. Here I am. So I'm going to switch the cameras. You watch the first one from that view. I'll switch these around so you have the other view. All right. So I do my math on my boards. This pencil's not very sharp. Those marks didn't come out anywhere near where I wanted them to. And where's my pencil sharpener? So the other fun thing is I usually work on that side of the bench if I go between the two. I need something that this will stick to. Seriously? Why does this not stick anymore? There it went. Or not. I usually have a piece of marble. There we go. And we got the tracking. All right. This one looks like it's going to be a lot closer to the truth. Dave, if you're watching, the article has pretty much been written on Book Club. I just need to shoot that video, and I know I keep promising it, and one day I'll deliver. It's coming, Dave. And everybody else. But this was something that Dave requested, and life keeps happening, and I keep not shooting the video, but I'm hoping to shoot it this weekend, and as soon as it's shot, so if I can shoot it this weekend, I'll get it into the editing bay. I'll try and be flawless in my production and not have to do a lot of editing. And all right, let's put this on for size. Let's flip it around the right way. Yeah, it's going to fit beautifully. I like it. Seriously? There we go. And looks like that's going to fit beautifully too. All right. All right, while we're dinking around here, let's talk about what you want to see in the coming year. I've kind of discussed some of the programs that I'm going to bring to you, but I would love to hear from you about what you would like to see. Or see more of, if you had your content tailor fit to your desire. Oh, way too much glue. All right. Right. Be right back. Ah. All right. So down in the comments, you want to make suggestions on what you would love to see, I can do that. I've been doing a lot of article reviews and posting them because that doesn't require a lot of video editing time, and I read the articles anyway, so I figure that'd be nice to bring to you. But I don't want that to be the content. And the person who left today, I'm going to reach out and find out what prompted her to leave. You know, maybe it was finances, maybe it was my content. But I'd like to find out why and what I can do, or you know, if it was something that I'm doing or not doing. I would like to know, not necessarily to bring them back, but to bring them back, but to let them know that I do care, and if they don't feel that they got what they paid for, I would like to know, because if they feel that way, maybe others feel that way. And I don't want anyone to feel that I've cheated them in any way. I personally, I know that my content has been lax, and I feel guilty about that. And I wrote out a schedule so I can get things done in some sort of timely fashion. But I'm just afraid that, you know, maybe it's a little too late, if you know what I mean. And I don't want that. So I've been waiting, sort of, but not really, for someone to comment about, I didn't put spine liners in here, and I just realized that it should have some sort of paper, crepe paper spine lining, and, well, yeah. So if you were going to comment on that, you're right, and I missed. That's one of the joys of having an audience and talking, is you sometimes forget what you're doing. These will be okay. It's a pretty solid book cloth. And I do have liners on the spine of the book itself. So if you do this right, for the most part, neighbor's getting a truck delivery. Your turn-ins and that will be invisible. the imperfections will be covered up by the new end papers. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do, we're going to take this other one out of the press. So these lights are doing pretty good. They've been on for a solid hour, and they're down out of 5 battery markers. They're only down 1. So that's kind of cool. Guess I could have put those on bottom at that point, but. Okay, that's snugged up. I don't have a water. Be right back. Right. Should have rinsed off my fingers while I was in there. All right, so front of the book, back of the book. Now this is where I really need to hope and pray. All right, so we're going to go front, top, right? And back, top. Yep. And this is front, top, back, top. Okay. That's going to fit rather nicely. All right, end bands are good, head and tail look good. All right, so I need a couple things before I glue this out. You want me to switch to the other camera? Are you happy with that view? I know you're not going to answer me. That's okay. I'll forgive you. All right. Alright, so I got some moisture barrier. I'm going to sit that there. Grab a couple waste sheets. Throw the glue out. Alright, so for this one, what I will do, I will switch to the tabletop view, and then the other one I'll switch back to here to get both angles. There we go. Got a little bit of the tabletop view. Try to check to see if there was messages. I heard my phone make some noise. And I do not see any chat. All right, that's fine. I don't want to talk to you anyway. I'm kidding, I really do. Well, don't worry about that in a minute. So let's go ahead and I need a better glue brush. Something with a little bit of girth. So I don't know if other bookbinders have talked to you about this. When you're gluing out your end papers, I would shy away from using straight PVA unless you're confident. Using paste, or at the very least a 50-50 blend of PVA and wheat paste, would be your best bet. It gives you a little bit of grace. And so if you close the book and you don't get things lined up right, you won't be crying later. PVA is very unforgiving when it comes to this process. So I'm going to take a sheet of acetate. I probably should have did this earlier. There's that. All right. And I'm going to this is the part that's very unforgiving. You close that book and you don't have it squared up right, and you have to lift your end papers, you're going to cry. This is the right order. You put your moisture barrier down, and then you put your paste sheet. Do your pasting. Okay, something I don't like, and I'll take care of this in a minute, is there's end papers overhung for some reason in a way that I wasn't expecting. All right, so we end up with something like that. It's really easy to fix. You don't want to do this if you're not confident with a knife. I'm going to take this out for a minute. So I'm going to take my scalpel. And this is where paste would have came in handy, because I'd have a little bit more time before this became a problem. All right, well, I'm not happy with that at all. Okay, so I'm going to put my moisture barrier back in where it belonged. I'm going to get a different moisture barrier because I got paste on that. All right. I'm going to switch cameras again real quick now that we've got the bench part done. And you can pick me up. There we go. Follow me back over here. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put this between some boards and press it. Pull that out of there. Okay, so when you're pressing a book, the longer you press it, the better, obviously, and that initial pressure is the most important. How long is important, but not as important as the initial pressure. You want to get it in there, you want to get clamped down, you want to really get that pressure on. So that's what that book is doing right now. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to size this up, and then I'm going to switch that around so the backing irons are actually on the book itself. And I'm going to make sure I get a really nice crease or groove where the spine of the book goes. All right, so now we're up to this one. And we're going to do the same thing where I'm going to look at the book. I want to make sure that this is the front and that that's top, and that this is the back and that's top. Now that I've marked it, I'm going to double check it, make sure that everything's fine. And then I'm going to open this up. ISBN is on the back. This is back top. This is front top. You have no idea how many times I've cased in a book and accidentally cased it upside down, where paste or a paste 50-50 mix would really come in handy. All right. So I'm going to push and pull this a little bit. I want to make sure that everything lines up the way it's supposed to. The case is relatively square. I say relatively because I can make a perfectly square case, but the text block isn't square. And I think that's what's going on with this. It's trying to chevron in a weird way. Yeah, this text block is wonky. Now, I didn't disband this. I did clean the spine, and okay, so one thing I'm going to do before we go anywhere is this end paper is a little long. That caused us some problems the last book. So we're going to nip that in the bud right now. That looks good. That looks good. That is. Okay. Four edges look good. All right, there's that. Let's bring you back. Let's get you fitted. All right, I am pretty happy with that. All right, since I got rid of one of those, oh, that's probably dry by now. Yeah, nice. All right. Lift you up. Put my moisture barrier in. Those two sheets are wasted. You can use anything as your moisture, as your waste sheet for gluing. This is really inexpensive, cheap copier paper. You can use wax, anything you want to put in there. If you want to use, excuse me, another sheet of acetate on top of your moisture barrier, that's fine too. You just want something that, if the book isn't perfectly squared up, you don't run the risk of getting paste or glue between your pages. And this allows you to brush past without fear of that. And you want to take the paste off the page. You always glue from the center out. Okay, last check for front is front, top is top. And I'm going to close the book with the corners squared up. That looks pretty good. Okay, still looks good. I'm going to take a sheet of acetate, moisture barrier, put it in there. I'm going to take a glue sheet. I'm a little more aggressive as far as my brushing when it comes to the second end paper, because you've already attached it to the first end papers. The book ain't even going to shift or anything. It just shouldn't. Okay. Take this, square it up. All right. Pretty good. All right, so I'm going to open this up a little bit. Make sure no ripples, bubbles. All right, so now we're going to have the fun where into the press you go. Open this up, because what I'm going to do now okay, there's that. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm going to help the groove out a little bit, and I put these two little sheets in here because these particular backing irons, these aren't backing irons, these are brass edge boards, are a little bit deeper than the groove that I want. Basically they're deeper than the board is thick. And okay, so I bought this piece of crap from Talus, and there's no locking mechanism on the handle, so it unscrews, and now I think it's actually stripped. I'll never buy a major tool like this from Talus again. A lot of the papers and a lot of that other stuff I'm good with. I get my marble papers from them, my end papers. I buy the PVA, but this thing here, I mean, I reached out to them and they said that they were going to take care of it. And then they said that the maker of it was going to send me a new handle and spindle. The maker of it called me up and said, essentially told me to glue it. This thing was, by the time shipping and handling and everything, it was over $700. And quite frankly, I'm not impressed. Yeah, I almost swore. I almost swore right here on the camera, and that wouldn't have been professional, but I'm really unhappy with this press. I ordered one from Alan Tarcia from Mexico City, and while it's pretty to look at, it's another piece of crap where he didn't take into consideration where the spindle met the press board top plate, and there should have been some sort of bushing in there, but I tightened it down once. I pressed a book, and when I took it out, the screw stripped out of the spindle. So yeah, I don't know. I've got two standing presses or book presses that I'm just really not happy with at all. And there's a company that makes bookbinding tools I was thinking about giving a try when I had the money. I want to call it Oak Knoll, but I think it's olive something or other. Yeah, not happy about it at all. That needs clean. Okay, so that's what I had for this morning. I'm not even sure what time it is. 2:39, so we've got 20 minutes. I don't know that I'm prepared for the next 20 minutes. So we're going to end this a little bit early today. I apologize. We will be back on Wednesday. I'll be working on this Bible and some other stuff. But I need to go exploring and figure out who the next clients are and what needs to be done. So I appreciate you hanging out with me for the last hour and 40 minutes. This is Edward Kranz.